Reason number 46 to get a Nissan. Features, especially the ones you get with the 2025 Nissan Kicks Play. Integrated Apple CarPlay, a spacious interior, advanced safety features, and more room in your budget. Because it's the most affordable new vehicle in Quebec. Get the 2025 Nissan Kicks Play S from only $22,774, including a $2,600 cash purchase bonus. Visit your Nissan dealer today. Until March 2nd, conditions apply. Details at Nissan.
Justine McIntyre here, sitting in for Elias Makos. We've been speaking this week and yesterday and even last week, of course, about the situation in Bedford School here in Montreal and the teachers that were suspended there, some of the staff that was suspended because they weren't adhering to the educational program there and instead were, doing their own thing and completely ignoring Quebec curriculum. And sort of on the heels of that, that's brought a whole debate about how the educational program is being delivered in the public system, but also in the private system, and whether or not the government should continue to fund religious schools. Well, we're speaking now with Conservative Party leader Éric Duhaime. He is arguing that instead of targeting private institutions, we should make sure public schools are adhering strictly to Quebec's educational curriculum. Éric Duhaime, welcome to the show.
It's always a pleasure.
So let's talk first about Bedford. What happened there? What were the specific instances of not adhering to the program that we saw there? And what's your take on that?
First off, it's been going on for 7 years. So it didn't happen overnight. We heard about it only over the last 2-3 weeks, but it's been going on for 7 years. There were a few whistleblowers that were not listened to. There were 11 teachers who were running the show, if we can say so.
Yeah.
And, what is at stake? It's in a public school. I have to underline that. It's very important to remember that. In Montreal, there are people from the report. We can't read the whole report because some parts were taken away. But what we know is that there were people from Arabic descent, obviously. It was Islam that was at stake. It was some scientific courses that were not given, girls and guys that were split for physical education, and so on. So we heard about it. The premier talked about the Islamization in that school in Montreal. He denounced that. They suspended with pay the 11 teachers, and there's investigation. There's 3 other investigations for similar things happening elsewhere in Montreal in 3 other public schools. Also in some public kindergartens. And over the last 2 weeks, the opposition parties, including the Liberal Party of Quebec, have been campaigning to cut public funds to religious private schools.
Right.
And that for us was completely insane. It's a diversion and it's outrageous.
So you don't see any connection there? You don't see any connection? Okay.
There is no connection. It's not me who doesn't see it. I mean, we're talking about public school. We're talking about Islam. And their solution is cutting private schools that are mainly Catholic and secondly Jewish schools. And they're doing that without any reason. I mean, as you know, private schools in Quebec are funded at 60% by the public, the government. The rest is done by parents. The quality of education on average is higher, and it's a choice. The parents are free to choose in Quebec, and it's very important for us. And to say that we're going to attack those schools, it's completely ridiculous. If they want to have a monitoring of what's going on in public and private schools, they should move forward and evaluate teachers and evaluate institutions. And that's what they should do to make sure the law is applied. Because the schools that we're talking about, we're not applying the law. It's not. You cannot teach Islam instead of science in a school in Quebec. It's not legal. I mean, it's not. So we don't need to change the law. We need to make sure we apply it, and we have teachers that are competent, which is not the case right now.
Mm-hmm. So I absolutely agree that in that case, we were talking about, of course, a public school, which had completely veered off program. I want to go back to, you mentioned the report, and you said that not all of it you weren't able to access all of it because some parts of the report had been removed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But they're censored, yes.
Okay, and this is a report that was done by which organization?
Within the government. It's a governmental report. And the reason that, what I understand, is that, they're doing another investigation right now, and that's why they suspended the teachers, and they're conducting also 3 other investigations on 3 other schools that there's other allegations as well. So we're going to have a full final report at the end, and that one is hopefully not going to be censored.
Okay, yeah, let's hope that you're able to get all the information there. It's of course extremely concerning to know that this situation was going on for years, and that it was being normalized in some sense, and that the centre de service was saying, well, that's just the culture there, and we've accepted it, and it's sort of an adaptation, when obviously this doesn't adhere to not only the Quebec curriculum and the educational program, but also values in terms of, girls and boys not being taught in the same way. Very concerning there. But I do think, I will agree with you that it's 2 very different situations, but I think that there's a broader conversation that needs to be had about education, and that private schools should also be part of that discussion.
Yeah, but we can talk about that, but it makes sure that it's not part of the same debate, because it has nothing to do with what happened. But that being said, the Quebec model, it's not the fact that we have competition with the education system for us is not a problem. And there's reasons also historically why the government of Quebec subsidizes at 60% those schools. I mean, you have to recall that in Quebec, it's the Catholic Church mainly that established the education system, and for generations, Quebecers were educated, by the Catholic Church. We're not saying that we need to go back there, but we also have to take into account that we have a heritage, and that there's schools that are still religious, that their parents are ready to pay, that they offer the same curriculum. The students come out of those schools with the same curriculum, but they have on top of it a religious school, a religious class that could be compulsory or not. Or sometimes it's just that they have a heritage of religion, but they don't teach any religion at all anymore, because they were built initially by nuns or by priests, but it's not the case anymore. So even talking about religious schools in Quebec, it's very confusing, because there's different kind of establishments that we're talking about. And the other thing is also with the cultural communities. If you think at the Greek Orthodox, the Jewish community, the Armenian community, there's reasons why we did that as well. It was for many, it was a huge success, and it was a way for Francophones to bring those new communities part of the French culture and the French. I mean, it was done. Even some of it was done by the Parti Québécois at the time. So there's reasons why those things were put in place, and we cannot take it out of context and today say, okay, we're a secular society, so we're going to abolish all those schools. We have to take it into a balance, and we have to also look at the compromise. And if the public is not there, what's going to happen? It means that only the very wealthy will be able to go to private schools, and all the middle class that has access to that good education is going to lose that right. And that's really what concerns us right now.
Well, do you think then that the focus should be on cleaning up the public school system and making sure that it's functioning properly, and that we should stop then this conversation that we've been having around the whole privately funded school system? Because I think you're right. In that privately funded school system, there are many different models, and the Catholic model that existed at the beginning really doesn't exist very much anymore.
No.
It's more of a heritage, and it's very rarely being taught as a religion. So we should be looking at public schools, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. We should make sure that what we're offering students, and we should monitor as well what's going on in private schools. But we have to make sure that we're results oriented, and instead of targeting a religion, we should start to target the problems and those who do not respect the law. And it's not the Jewish community, it's not the Catholic community that is a problem right now with the schools that we're talking about. And we shouldn't hit those communities because there is a problem at Bedford School or in other schools where there's the Islamists who are trying to take over. We should tackle that problem first and foremost. And what I'm concerned about is that those teachers, and we're going to follow that, because it's going to be very difficult, you're going to see, for the Quebec government to fire those people if they're not respecting the law, because they're unionized. It's going to be a huge challenge over the next few weeks to get rid of those people within the education system right now.
Well, whether it's Islamic or whether it's another religion, I think radicalization is at the root of this issue here. Éric Duhaime, Conservative Party leader, thank you so much for joining us today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Bye
All
now.
right.